Bam! Hi, I'm Rayceen Pendarvis, and I'm here with...
Yilin Zhang. Hi, everyone.
And you're running for office. Tell us about the seat you're running for.
Well, first of all, thank you so much, Rayceen, for having me. It's truly an honor, and thank you for the opportunity to speak with potential voters and everyone in the community. My name is Yilin Zhang. I'm running for DC Council Ward 2. I first came to DC about 10 years ago, and I came here to work with Veterans Health Administration. And prior to that, I'd been studying healthcare policy, doing healthcare research. And so healthcare has really been my passion for the last 10 years. And I actually have an interesting story where I've been in DC, the DC area for 10 years, but I've left twice. And each time I've made the decision to come back to DC, and I don't really know how I can describe it, but even though my parents are in Michigan, I've always felt that DC is my home because I felt like it is me, and I've always wanted to be a greater part of it. So, long story short, my parents actually immigrated to the United States from China. I came here when I was 3 years old. I was born in Beijing, and we lived in California for a few years. Then we moved to Michigan. And when I was in college, I studied anthropology. And prior to that, I didn't really know what it was, but I mention it because I've always had this innate interest in understanding culture, in celebrating diversity, and just talking to every different walks of life, all communities, and I've infused that interest into my work with healthcare. So my professional background is I've worked in healthcare consulting mostly. I've done policy, research, reaching out to communities to increase healthcare literacy, and I've also done business development. So it's really the full gamut. I've dedicated my life to honing my craft in healthcare, but a lot of those skills are transferable across different industries. So I love my life in DC. A lot of my friends live here, and what I want to do with this campaign is talk to more people to understand their issues. Because what I like to say is that it's not the Yilin Zhang show; it's the show for the community.
How about that? And that's so important. As we can see and we can feel your passion, you're a woman who has seen a lot of things, traveled, very, very well versed. Mm-hmm. And that's so important. And if you're elected, what would like to be your 3 tiers that you would like to either help change or create change?
Absolutely. That's such an important question. So to answer your question, I want to talk about different experiences that has led me to have this passion for the 3 issues that you'd like me to talk about. So I want to go back to when we first immigrated here. I was 3 years old, and my dad was in graduate school. So we were living basically on his student salary. And my mom, who was a school teacher back in China, she came here. She didn't speak a word of English, really. And so to help support us and bring in extra income, she cleaned houses, she worked at a deli shop, and that allowed me to have a birthday party at McDonald's. And I thought that was the best thing. And I get a little emotional when I talk about this. Just to see her try to integrate into a community that she doesn't speak the language, that has made me feel very passionate about making sure that people have a voice and a seat at the table. So when we talk about DC, I've been working the last 2 years on DC statehood. I want to make sure that everyone has representation, has a voice in the community. And this isn't just about, fighting for DC statehood. This is about fighting for a diverse group of people in DC to make sure that their issues are heard. So to me, that's really the foundation. Secondly, my background in healthcare, when I was in college, I started working in a nonprofit research capacity, but I was also outreaching to different underrepresented and underprivileged communities to increase healthcare literacy. And when I came to DC, what I found is that we have the highest maternal mortality rate in the entire United States. And we are the capital of the United States, and that's something we really need to address. We need to make sure that people have equitable access to healthcare. And then lastly, I want to talk about affordable housing. So my family, we actually moved into our first home when I was 9 years old, and we were so happy to be able to own a home in Michigan. And when I first came to DC, I didn't have a job. I didn't know where to find housing. So I actually rented a couch, and I lived on the border of DC. I lived in Virginia for a little bit. So what I want to make sure is that everyone has equitable access to housing. And DC has a comprehensive plan, which the review period has been extended to January. And I just want to make sure that we develop in a thoughtful way.
How about that? And that's so important. So folks who are watching, how they can contribute and where they can go to follow.
Thank you so much. So my website is www.yilin, YILIN, for Ward, WARD, and the number 2.com. I'm also on social media. I'm on Twitter at Yilin for Ward 2, Instagram, the same thing, and also Facebook. And I admit that I am not good at social media. So if you go to my website and subscribe to our email list, that's where you'll get most of the updates.
How about that? And most importantly, thank you for watching.